The Maurice Brown Show Sports Edition, playing a little pitch and catch with my nephew, Caleb.
Hey, guys.
He's the next Jerry Rice. Want to show him?
Yeah,
Let's
do
go.
it.
You're going to love this. Ready, set, go! Let's start the show.
Hey you guys, I'm Venus Monique from the hit crime drama Vindication, and you guys should definitely make sure you're catching the Maurice Brown Show on Roku TV.
Yeah! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Show Super Bowl edition with my main man, Antoine, Real Stewart. What's up, Real?
What's going on, Mo? How's it going?
Well, what's going on is neither one of our teams are in the Super Bowl. My guy, Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers, I don't even know if he'll be back in Green Bay. And, of course, your 49ers did not make it. You got any plans for the big game?
Not really. You know, if my team would have been in there, probably would have had some plans, but, you know.
Okay, Tom Brady's not in this Super Bowl, Matt. That was in the 10 prior Super Bowls. You probably missed those. But anyway, yeah, he's not going to be in this one, so we were spared that. But we get a brand new look at SoFi Stadium. We're going to have two new teams. Not really two new teams. One of them was in the Super Bowl a few years ago in a very boring matchup. But at SoFi Stadium, Super Bowl 56, the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Los Angeles Rams on NBC Peacock Telemundo at 6:30 p.m. So what do you think about this matchup?
Should be interesting. You got two good quarterbacks.
What's up, Skeeta?
Yes, two good teams. This, in my opinion, you know, this is going to come down to the battle of the trenches. It's going to come down to, can Cincinnati's offensive line do enough to handle the Rams' defensive line? It's going to be very interesting.
Well, that's something we're going to get into a little bit later. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Maurice Brown Show Super Bowl edition with Antoine Real Stewart. To join us later on is going to be Aaron Moore, who usually stops by for the usual state of the Washington, no longer football team, but the Washington Commanders. No, that is not a stand-up comedian punchline. That's true. They're called the Commanders. Anyway, so we're going to talk with him a little bit later, and also we're going to be talking more football and what's been going on around the NFL leading up to Super Bowl 56. But getting back to this particular game, when you look at this matchup, you go, okay, well, the Rams are a team that's got a lot of firepower. You got Matt Stafford doing his thing, and there's some concerns here. Matt Stafford, in particular, will Matt Stafford's tendency to throw picks at critical points of the game cost the Rams a title?
Yeah, it's very possible. You know, very possible. Shoot, he gave the 49ers one. We just couldn't catch it. So,
he did. He served one up for the 49ers, and they let it get away.
Yeah, so it's definitely a possibility. I think that's going to be on the back of his mind, going to be on the back of his coach's mind and the team's mind. You know, hopefully he doesn't serve them up one if the game is that close where it even matters.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's something that Matt Stafford is known to do. The LA Rams have loaded up for this moment to win it all. They've gone out and they've gotten just about everybody you can imagine. They picked up at the end of the season Forrest Gump. That was some late-breaking news during the season. They got him. They picked up the Water Boy as well, Bobby Boucher. And, I mean, it's just one thing after another. They just kept bringing them in. And so they've got to win this. The thing about Matt Stafford is he's a great quarterback. I mean, he really is an elite quarterback. And he is the kind of guy that'll put up 350 yards, 450, what have you, and then at the most critical point of the game. And it has been a theme with Matt Stafford throughout his career where he will serve one up. And like you just said, I mean, the 49ers let him off the hook. He got by on that one. And so that's what the Rams have to hope Matt doesn't do. He did it a couple of times during the year against the Tennessee Titans. He did it against the Green Bay Packers. He did it against the Cardinals. He did it against you guys in the regular season as well as in the postseason. This time you let him off the hook. Like we said, you dropped it. But Matt Stafford will give that ball away. So we're going to see what happens. It should be an exciting ball game. There's no question about that. I'm excited about it, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the Maurice Brown Show Super Bowl edition with Antoine Real Stewart. We'll be joined by Aaron Moore later, former tight end from Bowie State University. Here's the other question on the other side of the ball, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a pretty cocky guy. And I didn't know he was as braggadocio as he has come off over since he won the AFC Championship. Will his cockiness, though, get this, be just what the Bengals need to beat a loaded Rams team?
Me personally, I don't really see him as cocky. I see him as confident. We've been having a little fun with him, the internet with the memes and stuff like that. But yeah. I think it's basically, I think it's going to come down to the biggest thing to me is the running game.
Okay.
Can they establish the running game? I think everything is going to basically bounce off of that. If they can run the ball, that'll open up the deep passing game and all these other things that they want to get into. But if they can't establish the run, it's going to be a long night for Joe Burrows. And he's going to be seeing a lot of 99 Aaron Donald and a lot of Von Miller coming off the edge. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing to establish his confidence or cockiness, as you have it, is if he can run the ball so that way he can have a pocket and have those windows and that time in the pocket to throw the ball and get it down to his weapons.
Well, I tell you, he's been really cocky, dude. I ain't kidding you, man. He's been rocking the gold chains, the pimp sunglasses. I heard that at halftime he was going to do a special appearance and do his impression of Eminem. But I don't know, dude. I mean, sometimes that kind of brash behavior can kind of carry over to the team, and it can work in your favor. I mean, let's face it. I mean, he's basically a rookie on a team that nobody thought would be in this position, and so the Rams are loaded, man. The Rams are loaded. I don't think the LA Rams this year, I do not think they have played up to their potential yet. They've had maybe a couple of games where they looked like they were supposed to, based on what they look like on paper. Right. And if so, the Bengals have a tall order on their hands, and I say that only because, and you mentioned it already, their offensive line is just not the best in the world. And is there a potential, because of that, is there a potential that the Rams could blow the Bengals out because of a weak offensive line versus a dominant Rams defensive line?
Oh, most definitely. It's going to come down to game planning. Like I said, establishing the run.
Yeah.
Taking some tricks that the 49ers do, the short passing game, establishing a short passing game, down the middle and stuff like that. So Joe Burrows doesn't have to hold on to the ball too long. I know they like the deep ball game and stuff like that, but they're going to have to pick their shots wisely because, as you said, that offensive line is struggling, and the Rams, their strength is their defensive line. So it's going to basically come down to coaching and come down to whoever's calling those plays to basically game planning and calling a great game and having a great game plan and sticking to it if they want to beat the Los Angeles Rams.
We had a viewer call in, actually write in, at the beginning of the show. Woohoo, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is not in the Super Bowl, sir. As a matter of fact, at the end of the playoff game, they had to go. He did an A-B, and they had to go get Tommy and kind of calm him down. Yo, Tom, you look, man, you can come back next year. You don't have to retire. But anyway, I think that was his, goodbye, a lap around the field with the shirt off. I'm not coming back. Anyway, that being said, it's good to see a couple of new teams in this thing, the Rams and the Bengals. I think that the potential for a blowout really does exist only because of that line. I mean, look, dude, if the Chiefs were giving you a problem and the Tennessee Titans were giving you. Matter of fact, I think the Titans sacked Burrow 8 times. And the Chiefs gave him a heck of a time, and he found a way to get it done. And Aaron Donald is not the kind of guy that you want to come up to with a weak line. Right. And Vaughn, what's my man's name on the edge there? Von Miller. I mean, dude, you know, they have a really weak line. So all this pimping and, jumping around like a rapper this week, Joe Burrow, I'm like, yo, dude, Aaron Donald's watching this, right? Aaron Donald's watching you, do you know he's getting madder? He's getting angrier, and he's talking with his boy Vaughn like, yo, Vaughn, you see this right here? Hey, yo, Vaughn, you see Eminem here? Anyway, so I don't know. I mean, they're going to be coming after him. They're going to be – so Burrow better be ready to play. That offensive coordinator better draw up a game plan where you can get Burrow some time to get that ball out of there. And I mean quick.
Yeah.
He's going to have to be quick with it. But you already mentioned they've got Joe Mixon, who they don't use a heck of a lot, but he's a pretty good running back, and I think this is a game where they're going to want to lean on him because as good as the Rams' defensive line is at rushing the passer, they're really not a great run-stopping team.
No.
They are not a great run-stopping team, so you want to go in there and try to run Mixon down their throat as much as you can to offset that pass rush, which is going to be lethal. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I think the Bengals can win this game. I am not by any stretch of the imagination counting Cincinnati out. I think they can win it. But I do believe the potential for a blowout exists if they don't play their cards right. Because let's face it, they beat a Kansas. I don't want to take anything away from Cincinnati, but Patrick Mahomes imploded a couple of weeks ago. Like, they were getting ready to blow the Bengals out, and then all of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes starts going backwards. So anyway, that being said, that could happen here, and if the Bengals are not careful. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Maurice Brown Show Super Bowl edition with my main man, Antoine Stewart. We're going to be joined a little bit later on by Aaron Moore, who's going to talk about the state of the Washington Commanders, former tight end at Bowie State University. So that's going to be an interesting conversation. Can't wait to dive into that. But as we look at this particular game coming up, we're going to switch to some other news in the NFL. We were talking the other day about Brian Flores. Mm-hmm. Brian Flores has filed a class action suit against the NFL for discrimination as far as hiring African Americans as coaches. And Brian Flores, everyone knows the story, was offered $100,000 for each game thrown. Mm-hmm. And the mindset and the thinking was by the owner of the Miami Dolphins. I believe his name is Hank Ross. I'm not sure. But they wanted to get a better draft pick. And this is a practice that goes on in the NFL. Mm-hmm. It goes on in the NBA. It goes on in the NHL. It goes on in Major League Baseball. When you are a team that's struggling, as the season wanes, you start to think about getting that number one draft pick. And you tank games. This is nothing new. It's just like the bounty scandal when the Saints got tagged. Well, guys get paid to take guys out. It's part of the NFL. It goes back a long way. So Brian Flores decided he wasn't going to do that. He decided, I'm going to win these games. I'm sorry, you're talking to the wrong guy. I'm a winner. And so because he didn't do what the owner expected, he was not asked to come back. In fact, he was terminated. And so you and I and Aaron Moore were talking about the fact that perhaps Brian Flores, and I'm not necessarily of this mindset, but Brian Flores could have brought this upon himself from the standpoint of it's not a racial issue. You just didn't do what the boss wanted you to do. Your thoughts?
That's exactly how I feel. I don't agree with throwing games and stuff like that. It's a nasty part of the game, but it is a part of the game. It does happen. Yeah. And when your boss is telling you to do something he didn't want to partake in, he wanted to do what he wanted to do, he got terminated. Didn't have anything to do, in my opinion, about race. He just didn't want to. He didn't want to do what the boss had him to do. And in my opinion, he's still winning because, as we all know in the NFL, coaches' contracts are guaranteed fully. So if I sign you to a 3 or 4 or 5 year deal and I fire you after the first or second year, all your money is still guaranteed. I think he was with them for 3 years. So I don't know how long he had on his contract, if it was a 5 year deal or something like that. They still got to pay him that money. And he could
Right.
have, before the lawsuit, he could have got on another team as a head coach. There were a couple of coaching jobs and a couple of teams that need a head coach that I believe, had interviews for, Chicago being one of those teams, that he could have been a head coach on another team and still getting paid from the other team, but he took it personal and, wanted to make it racial. But in my personal opinion, it didn't have anything to do with race, even though I don't agree with throwing games. And I personally wouldn't want to work for an owner that wanted me to throw games. So I would want to be out of there anyway. So I just feel like, it's a time and a place for the race thing. I don't think this was that time. I don't think it was race based on the reason he got terminated. So, I definitely think he kind of played his hand wrong, but we'll see how it all plays out.
So if you're playing around a round of cards here, you're looking at your hand. You're definitely not throwing the race card.
No,
Anyway, look. Let me just say this. Let me just say this, Stu. I think that is a plausible position to take here. That it's got more to do with you not following your employer's expectations, although they weren't ethical. It was an unethical request. And so you got fired. Because you got fired, the word now around the league is, hey, guys, he won't play ball. Don't
right,
touch him. So it became a thing where he wasn't going to get hired by anybody because he won't play ball, not because of the color of his skin. That could very well be argued. And then it leads us to the question, okay, well, does he have a winnable case against the NFL?
right. And that's why I say it's kind of like, for all my spades players out there, it's kind of like he threw his joker out too soon.
Uh oh.
He threw the deuce of spade out too soon. Like,
Uh uh.
reserve those for later on and see what's going to happen, because we can say what if all day. We can
Yeah.
speculate and everything, but we don't know. It's a likely a good chance that he was going to get hired by a team, because another owner could be like, I wouldn't ask you to throw no games. That owner, that's how he gets down. I'm not saying every owner gets down like that. We're all individuals and we run our businesses differently. It's a part of the game, but everyone doesn't have to play like that. Because we also know that, okay, you want me to throw these games, but what happens if you still don't like me? And another coach is saying, well, look, you didn't play well and you didn't win any games last year. And he said, well, he wanted me to throw the game. So, that could be a double-edged sword. So I agree with him by not throwing the games, but you got to also take what comes with that. The owner's asking me to do something and I'm going to disagree with him. It's a chance he might fire me, and I'm okay with that, because I don't want to work for you anyway. If that's how you get down, I can take my talents to South Beach, go somewhere else. And if he would have let things play out, as far as all the jobs and stuff like that, went on all the interviews he was supposed to go on and not cut it short, and he possibly could have got hired by another team. It's part of the business. He's on another team. He's getting paid. He's feeding his family and everything else. But he felt, to me, it was an emotional reaction, and he acted too soon, because how do you prove something that we don't know for a fact? We can speculate and say, well, they could have blackballed you, they could have done this. No one had to know about it. Usually in these cases, when it's an inside thing, meaning me and the organization know, but no one else knows, you can go somewhere else and just, you don't talk about it, to the public. Once you
Yeah.
bring something public, now it's like, okay, this guy is not going to keep issues in house. If we have a disagreement or whatever happens, that's between me and you. You want to bring it to the media, unless it was something racial that happened. But in this case, I didn't see anything racial about, you didn't follow the direct order from the owner. He got rid of you. it is what it is. It's part of the game, even though it's unethical. But can't sue anyone for ethics. They're the owner. They can do what they want to do. It is a
So
game at the end of the day.
yes, yes, and with that being said, Stu, what is the solution to getting more African American coaches hired in the NFL? Although I think we can agree that Brian Flores' case may be a little bit different. The lack of black coaches being hired is a problem in the NFL. What's the solution to that? I know today Lovie Smith was hired by the Houston Texans.
Right.
And I believe Michael O'Connell was hired by the Miami Dolphins, who's a man of color. He's a biracial individual. So that was a good look for the NFL. But what's the solution here, Stu?
It's not really one thing that I can point out because there are a lot of African American coaches in the league. At this particular time, there weren't like a whole bunch of head coaches.
Yeah.
But throughout the league, like Lovie Smith, this is not his first time being a head coach. He was a head coach of Chicago before. It's all about relationships.
Went to the Super Bowl with Chicago.
Exactly. I think now, not 40, 50 years ago or something like that. Now, African American coaches are, becoming head coaches and, assistant head coaches and coordinators and things like that. 49ers just hired another brother as the assistant head coach.
Okay.
His name. He was the head coach of the Chargers, helped bring up their quarterback and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things where if you want to try to find something to be mad about, you can. You can say, "Oh, I think it should be 20 black head coaches in the league," But I really don't think that's a problem now. And to be honest with you, I think Deion is going to be a head coach in the NFL when he decides to, leave college alone. He's on this mission, with his alma mater and what's that, Jackson? But I feel
Jackson
like he
State
was
University.
a great head coach in the league. Prime, who doesn't love Prime? Everyone's going to love him. Everybody's going to want to play for him. So, I just think it's one of those things where we'll have a bunch of head coaches, and then how the NFL does that shuffle, where people get fired and they bring this person in, and whoever's the hot new guy from college, he'll get his chance and stuff like that. But I don't really see it as a big issue in the NFL, me personally, because there are a lot of African American coaches in the league right now.
Yeah, there are. I think when Brian Flores brought it up, it was kind of a glaring issue because you only had one coach, and that's Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, and that was it. At one point we had like 5 or 6, and then it went down to like just the one guy. So it was a bad look, and like I said, 2 African Americans, 2 more were hired today, even though to go along with Mike Tomlin. So. And everyone thought the Cowboys were, I have to deviate just a little bit. Everybody thought the Cowboys would be in the Super Bowl. I just want to reiterate to all the Dallas Cowboys, not your year. Anyway, and that's to commemorate the new chip by Doritos. Anyway, so I just had to say that. But now, getting back to the lack of black coaches in the NFL, yeah, it's a plausible issue. I think Brian Flores may have misstepped in this case here in Miami. As we change subjects, let's get to your boy in San Francisco, Jimmy Garoppolo. Doesn't seem to be a guy that's going to be coming back to the 49ers next year. A lot of people seem to believe the consensus is Trey Lance will take over the helm. Where is the best fit for Jimmy Garoppolo?
It might be the Washington Commanders. That might be the best fit. To be honest with you, I think one of the best fits would be Tennessee, but they seem like they're okay. They're happy with their guy, their quarterback there. So he needs someone with a good defense, a good running game. Those are 2 things that he needs. And Washington, their running game is kind of up and down, but I like their running back, but he got to stop fumbling so much. Their defense, is pretty good when they play with their potential and stuff like that. So, I like Heineke, but you definitely want to bring in some other people to have a competition there, have him and Jimmy compete for the starting position. So I think Washington Commanders will be the best fit for him right now.
I would have to agree with that. I think the Washington Commanders would have to look at that because let's just face it, Taylor Heineke's not a starter. He just isn't, and they may do with him, and they got as far as they could with him. And when the games really counted, he didn't have the stuff that was needed to get it done. They have a good team. They just need a quarterback, and I think Jimmy Garoppolo would be a great fit for the Commanders. He could also end up in Green Bay if Aaron Rodgers finds himself in another city. We'll get to Aaron a little bit later, but he could also end up there. I don't know if there are any other places that jump off the page right now where he might end up. I mean, heck, Russell Wilson may move out of Seattle. Garoppolo could go there. Heck, he could go to Cleveland, but I don't think the Browns are going to give up on Baker Mayfield, so that's probably out. But I would agree with you. I think the Washington football team is definitely a possible landing spot for him. They need a quarterback, bottom line, and Jimmy is going to be available. There's no doubt about that. As I mentioned, Aaron Rodgers, what are the chances that he ends up in Frisco?
Not likely.
Okay.
I would say 0%.
Okay.
It's a money thing right now. Jimmy, I think by us trading him frees up like $25 million or something like that. Because we Deebo Samuels and Nick Bosa were extending their contract supposedly this offseason. So we need a little bit of cash to do that. So trading Jimmy is going to free up a whole bunch of cash. And we got Trey, who's on a rookie deal. So it's not going to cost a lot. So it works everything out. So we can keep some of our top people happy and extend it and, keep the talent around Trey for years to come.
Well, there was talk out there that Aaron might somehow end up in Frisco. There's been talk that he might end up in Tennessee as he built a home in Nashville. The Titans came out today and said they have no interest in Aaron. They're going to stick with Ryan Tannehill. The Pittsburgh Steelers is another team that's come up. Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers apparently have a pretty good affinity for one another. So they've come up. Denver has come up because the former offensive coordinator for the Packers, Nathaniel Hackett, is now the head coach of the Broncos. So people think he may be headed out there. And then, of course, there's always the possibility that they could come to some type of resolution in Green Bay and he comes back. But I know he has a real love for the 49ers. He grew up in the Bay Area, a 49er fan and all of that. He's 0-4 against the 49ers, and I'm sure if it did work out that way, you would be over the top with excitement.
I would welcome him, but Lynch and Shanahan have said that Trey is the guy. They already kind of tried to clear out any rumors, and from a financial standpoint, we need that cap space. We need that money by trading Jimmy away so we can feed our dogs. So.
Well, and also, you want to feed your dog and you're not trying to lose another playoff game. I get it, Stu. I get it. So with that being said, Tom Brady, did Antonio Brown's antics the last game of the season, his behavior cost Tom Brady an 11th trip to the Super Bowl and 8th Super Bowl ring?
I'm going to have to say no.
Okay.
I'm going to say no because, anyone that watched the game, Brady put them right in position to win. The defense just couldn't hold up. Brady, I was watching, I was like, I know he's not about to do it again. Brady started doing his thing. They started coming back.
Yeah.
And the defense just had to do their part, and they weren't able to. We all know that Tampa Bay secondary was hurting big time this year. They had a lot of people injured and stuff, so they weren't the same secondary that we saw the previous year in the Super Bowl. So, Brady did his part. Defense couldn't do theirs. This is a team sport, and, it is what it is. They needed more help on the defensive side of their ball. Brady still was able to, get the offense working and everything to put them in position to win that game, and the defense dropped the ball. So
You know, the sad thing about it, and I would agree with you. I think you're 100% correct. I think the sad thing about all of it is Tom Brady saved Antonio Brown's career.
Yeah.
He had an opportunity to save his career. Of course, Matt LaRock agrees with everything that you just said, even though he doesn't understand a single word you said. Anyway, here's the thing. Antonio Brown's career was resurrected by Tom Brady. Tom Brady invited this man into his home, allowed him to commiserate with his family, have dinner with his family, sit around his house. He was welcomed into the man's home. And he gave him another opportunity to play football again, and he got a Super Bowl ring out of it.
Right. Yeah.
And then you come back the following year, and I guess he got into some type of dispute with Bruce Arians as to how many touches he's supposed to get per game, which would, increase his contract. He didn't get what he wanted, and he decided he was just going to be a jerk. And he was summarily dismissed from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers justifiably. And then you look at that and you go, well, now, if AB had not done that, I would say that the Bucs are in the Super Bowl today. And not only are they in the Super Bowl, they're probably going to win it all. I mean, Tom Brady nearly walked the dog on the Rams after being down 27-3. And without AB. So I'm just looking at this as, yeah, I agree with you, Stu. It's not AB's fault that Tom didn't get the ring, but it was awful disrespectful for him to do what he did because of what Brady had done for his career.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think with that Bruce Arians situation, he was saying that, I'm hurt, I can't go in, my foot. And Aaron was like, well, give me what you got, go in there anyway. And he was like, no, and they kind of got into it on the sideline. Like, you want me to play injured? But, I mean, it was go times, playoffs, I'm sorry, before the playoff. That happened in the playoff game?
No, that was the last game of the season.
Yeah, the last game of the season. So, I don't know. I don't know what that was about. And then, AV was trying to say that when he refused to go in, that Arians was kind of like, well, you're done or whatever. So, AB did what he usually does, act a fool, which he should have kept everything inside and got that money because he messed up that situation. So now he's suing Tampa Bay to try to get some money. But, AB just got to learn how to, we all can see that he does have some mental issues going on and stuff like that. So, I hope and pray that he gets the help that he needs. But, throwing Tom under the bus was definitely out of order. Like you said, he resurrected his career. He had this man, live in his house, even though it's a mansion, but he probably stayed on the West Wing or something like that, but still.
As far west as possible, I'm sure.
He had this man live in his house and got him a Super Bowl ring,
Yeah.
Get everything. And a lot of people forget that Arians never wanted AB. Arians said, we're not getting him. And Tom begged to differ, and Tom usually gets his way. Tom got his way, and it worked. They got a ring together, But just I don't know what happened. Things just
maybe if Bruce had left AB alone, maybe it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, and they would have gotten another ring. But we can, say it is if was a fifth forever and a day, and we'll never know what would have happened. But right. I just thought it was food for thought. Tom Brady retires at the age of 45. I believe Tom was 45. 44, about to be 45, and he looked like he had it enough to go and win another Super Bowl. But I give him a lot of credit for retiring, because what more do you need to prove? You don't need to prove anything else. You've got a beautiful wife. You've got a beautiful family. Go enjoy your family, man. You got plenty of money. Just go home and enjoy your hardware that you've earned in your profession, and don't look back. Go enjoy your family, man. Go have fun. I'm glad he left. Not just because he would have kept winning. It would have been great, but, I mean, hey, you're grown. Go enjoy your family, man. You know what I mean? You don't have to do this anymore. You go back out there and you get a life-threatening, a life-changing injury, and now you're limping with your grandkids instead of walking with them. You know what I mean? Just get out. You're healthy. You're strong. Go on and enjoy your life. So I'm glad Tom Brady did that. So, Stu, this is our last show of the year. We're going to continue on with the NBA. You are a boxing guy. By the
Yes,
way,
sir.
just to get over into the boxing lane real quick, how did the fight go over the weekend?
It went well. Keith one time Thurman did what he had to do, get the win. It was a great fight, 12-round fight. He beat up the guy real bad, Marios Barrios. But it was a great fight. Marios Barrios is a warrior, a true champ. Keith just was the better man that night. But it was a great fight.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I watch boxing from time to time. I'm not a boxing aficionado, but I like good fights, and
Right.
I haven't seen as a novice fan. I haven't heard of any really big ones of late. I think I saw a good one about 5 or 6 months ago. I forget the name of it, of the guys that were fighting. It was a Russian fighter, and he got into it with the boxer's dad in the lobby of a hotel. And I don't know if you remember this, but they were kind of beefing in the hotel. The dad was kind of gassing his son up, and and getting the guy's face. And then, of course, that was the hype of the fight. And then the next night, his son actually won. I mean, he pretty much beat him in a decision, but he beat him up pretty good. I cannot. That was a great fight too. I loved it, but I cannot. Are you remembering what I'm speaking of here?
I'm trying to think. You said Russian. I'm trying to
It was a
remember.
Russian fighter. Yeah, he was. I think it was a lightweight fight, and again, he was a champ, and his son, Latino guy. I'm sorry, the fighter's a Latino guy, and his dad ran into him in the lobby of a hotel, got all in his face, and had to separate him and all that stuff. And of course they had the fight the next night. I don't know who those guys were, but I love the drama. I love the drama. It reminded me of back in the day stuff. You don't see a lot of that anymore. But anyway, that's the last show of the Maurice Brown Sports Edition with Antoine Real Stewart. We will continue this show with NBA coverage with Aaron Moore. And hopefully a couple of others will be joining us for that show. We're going to try to start that up in 2 weeks. The NBA today on the Maurice Brown Show. So stick around for that. Be on the lookout for that. We were going to talk about the Washington Commanders with Aaron Moore. He was not able to join us today. The state of the Washington Commanders. We'll see how their season goes and how they work out, the attendance. That's the new helmet. I don't know. It's not a bad looking helmet. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's got the burgundy and gold colors, and Anyway, good luck with that. So anyway, Stu, it's been great having you on this year, man, and stop by. And we'll talk a little boxing as we run into some quality fights down the road.
Sounds like a winner. I'm always down to talking boxing.
Man, I'm telling you, we're going to definitely do that. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Maurice Brown Show with Antoine Real Stewart, the Super Bowl edition. If you've enjoyed the show, like it and share it, and subscribe to the Maurice Brown Comedy Channel and any social media engine that Antoine Real Stewart is a part of. If you came in on the very end of this show and you missed it, you didn't really miss it, because tomorrow about midday on the Creative Motion Network on Roku TV, you can watch the whole darn thing again. And you can see all of the jokes we made about the Cowboys and the Rams stacking and whatnot. And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to say this before we get out of here. This absolutely must be said. If the Rams do not win the Super Bowl, they are not going to have a good offseason. And I think he agrees too. They will not. Absolutely not. They won't. They got to win it all. They have got to win this thing, Stu. Or I mean, they put all their money in. They put all their chips in.
Yeah.
For this, they have to win this. I think they're at SoFi Stadium.
Right.
They're playing in their own crib, the Super Bowl, and they've got to win this game. And so I think Jim Burrow is playing with house money.
Yeah. And then, the funny thing is, a lot of people are saying
Or Joe
he
Burrow.
played at LSU, correct?
He went to LSU, Joe Burrow, yeah.
His first year starting a full season at LSU, they won the national championship. His first year starting a full season in the NFL, they're going to the Super Bowl. So, this has been a fun ride for him, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot of the playfulness and the chains and all these things, because he's young, he's having fun, and it's kind of like a so real moment. Like I won a national championship, my first year starting with LSU, and then now, first full year because he got injured his rookie year. This is sophomore year in the NFL, and you're going to a Super Bowl. So no one saw this coming. So I mean,
No one.
fun,
Absolutely no one saw this coming.
Right.
And I mean, nobody saw this coming. And again, my man would agree with this. Nope, absolutely not. Nobody. Didn't see it coming. Just crazy. So he's playing with house money. And here come the Bengals and the Rams, 6:30 on NBC, Telemundo, and Peacock. Coming your way at 6:30 p.m. this Sunday. And got any party plans, Stu?
Nah, I think I'm gonna sit on the couch, kick back, just watch it, because our teams aren't playing, so it's like there's no point in going all out for, I kind of want the Cincinnati to win. My brain is telling me the Rams are going to win, but my heart is rooting for Cincinnati because I don't, the Rams are in our division. I don't want them to win.
Okay, now LaRock is saying, didn't they change the rule for that? AT&T Stadium moving forward neutral field. What's he talking about, Stu?
I have no idea.
I don't either. Don't worry about it, Matt. It's going to be okay. They will be playing at SoFi Stadium. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that game at 6:30 p.m. Sunday on NBC, Peacock, and Telemundo. Super Bowl 56.
Ticket prices?
I did not. What are the prices?
Ridiculous. I was seeing 30,000 seat, $1,000 tickets, 20,000, 15,000. Nosebleeds are looking like 3,000 or 4,000.
Oh my gosh!
It's Hollywood. You're going to have to bring Hollywood for those prices.
That is totally insane, dude. And people are going to pay for it. People are going to pay for those tickets. To sit up there in the nosebleed. And heck, look, just think about it. If you're from the L.A. area, okay, and you're a Rams fan, you will pay for that.
Yeah, if you can, yeah.
You will pay for it's going to be crazy because, the NFL got what they wanted here.
Right.
The venue is the home site of one of the team participants. That is a gold mine for the NFL.
Right.
You can scalp tickets, man, for $10,000, $20,000. Someone will buy it.
You bring up a good point. Yeah.
Someone will freaking buy those tickets.
Right.
So the NFL, they really got off like a fat cat on this one. I'm gonna watch this. Who's performing at halftime?
Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, basically his whole record label doing everything. Snoop Dogg. So, it's in LA. Hollywood's going to be there. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem.
Man, they got to have Denzel come out there and dance with them, to honor Training Day. All right. Well, Stu, hey, man, it's been a great year covering the NFL, man, with you. It's been a lot of fun. Unfortunately, our teams did not, enter the Super Bowl this year. Neither one of us, but it's been a lot of fun covering the NFL this year with you, man. And let's do this again next year. And may the peace of Jesus Christ be with you and your family, Stu.
And also with you, my brother.
Amen. Amen.